Dad. What game are we playing today?
We are playing Power Grid.
Power Grid. Do you like Power Grid?
I love Power Grid. This is one of my favorite games. And when I heard about this years ago, I could tell just by hearing what it was about that this was going to be a game I liked. I bought it and I love it. The problem has been it's a couple-hour game is finding people that are going to play it with me. But when I do, I just eat it up. Just because there's so many different things to think about. It's a pure strategy game. No dice rolling, no worry about luck. It's completely watching your opponents. So many facets to be thinking about all the time. I love it.
All right, well, what's the objective?
The objective in Power Grid is, as you can see here, we've got the map of the U.S. On the back side, we've got the Germany map. But the objective is to get some cities out here and essentially being able to power up your cities with power plants that you have purchased along the way. And the person that can power up the most cities at the end of the game wins. And it doesn't mean you've got to have the most cities out there. You have to be able to power on that last turn as well, which involves all the resources. So there's just so much to it, but I think the best way, I'm not going to go into details on this one because there's so many different facets of each step, but I will give a quick overview of what they are. And this, as you can see, as always,
handy-dandy card.
our handy-dandy turn summary. So, for example, you can see here also a lot of different facets of it. Over here we have, on this side, is the turn order, which has a big impact. So, depending on who goes first or who goes last, different facets of the game depend on that. So you want to keep an eye on who's going to get to go first, because they're going to have some benefits. Who goes last, they're going to have some other benefits. That's all determined over by here on how many cities you're powering up. So if I've got 4 cities out here, I'm going to be over on 4. Somebody else may have 5 cities, another person may be up to only 3 cities, and they're up to 4 cities with me, for example. So he's going to have first in turn order, I'm going to have second in turn order, and he will go, and red would go if we were doing a 4-player game. Number 2 is buying the power plants. The best begins. What it means is whoever's in first place gets to go first, and this is our power plant auction.
Look at that.
So that's really the first thing you do, and you can see different types of power plants. It tells you different resources needed to power them up. It tells you how many cities they power when they're turned on, which is fantastic. So you're going to first auction these off. The person who gets to go first picks up of the current floor market which one they want to bid on. And these are done by auction, so people can choose how much they want to spend on them. He may offer this one up for bid, and he will start at number 5. And then if the next person wants to bid a higher at 6 or 7, they bid, and it keeps going around until someone has purchased this.
And you got your monopoly money over the
right? Exactly. So you've got all this that you can purchase with. So say I bought that, and the next thing comes up is number 13. Well, all of these shift down, and that goes into the futures market, and it keeps going along.
So the only ones you can auction from are that top row.
That top row, right? But as things get purchased, so maybe this one gets purchased next by a player. Next thing that comes up is a 12. Well, that's going to fit right in here. And it'll just keep shifting around. So other beneficial ones are going to come out. Take a look at some of these.
So the ones that come out are always going to be numerical.
Yeah. And then they're going to get an order. So for example, some of these higher ones, this will power up 7 houses. As you can see, it's similar to this one that can power 2. So over time, you are only going to be able to keep, like if I had these as my power plants, I can only keep 3 at a time. So if I do purchase this one later, I'm going to have to get rid of one of these. So maybe I'll get rid of this one, and that one's out of the game. So I'm going to continue to auction these off. There's all sorts of rules about how that gets done, and you can bid up as high as you want, how those all shift into play. But it's cool. You got to be watching the auction, and you got to know what type of power plant, what type of resources, when is a good trade going to happen. Because again, at the end, you're going to want to be able to power the most cities. So if I have cards like this, the most at the end of the game I would be able to power is 9 cities. That's not going to win me the game. So I know I've got to plan it.
All right. Well, let's see how you get cities out there then.
Exactly. Well, you're stepping ahead even there. The third phase of the game is to buy resources. So look down here at the resources. And this tells you how much it costs to buy a resource. My power plant can burn For example, this one can burn coal.
Coal power one.
Yeah, power one city, or if I moved up, I can have coal or oil. So I can buy those resources. There's others that have garbage. There's other uranium, and some are wind power.
Ooh.
So you don't have to buy any resources. So it's pretty cool. But then I'm going to pay for as many as it costs. So if I want to buy 4 of these, it'll cost me 1 for each of these resources and 2 for that one. So I'll spend that money to buy all of these resources. But chances are I'm going to want to buy more to be able to power up. This one's actually going in reverse order.
Oh,
The person that's at
resource buying goes in reverse
Yeah.
order to last it first.
Yeah, so if you want to be buying resources cheaper, you're going to not build out your cities as much because then you can buy cheaper because little do you know, this is going to be bought up.
And then the first person will have to pay more expensive.
Yeah, it's going to cost that. At the end of each turn, those are going to resupply, but they don't resupply very quickly. Anyway, pretty cool with buying resources. That's what I thought. Then you're going to build cities.
Now we get to build houses.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, if I wanted to build into Fargo, I first have to go from where I'm connected. It's going to cost me 10 to build there, plus I have to pay a connection fee. So it would cost me 16 to put a plant there. If I wanted to build over into Billings, it's going to cost me 10 plus 17, so another 27 to connect over to Billings. So that's how you build out your network. I can't just jump somewhere else and say I want to build in Santa Fe.
But there can be 3 houses per city.
Yes, at different steps of the game, you're going to build into it. So after you hit a certain stage in the game, then somebody can build a second.
For 15.
Right. I can't build 2 in the same city, but other people can then come into the game and then third step. So they will start to intermix, but it's going to take until somebody builds their 7th city, then you can start putting 2 in the city. The other thing I should note is depending on how many players of the game, you're going to play in different areas of the map. So you can
That's
see
why
these
they're all
color
colored.
backgrounds. So if you've got 4 players, you just pick 4 sections. So like we may pick these 4 sections to play in.
And then you
In a
just
4-player
ignore the
game.
West Coast.
Yeah, or we could pick these 4. You ignore the East Coast. Those type of things. Anyway, so that's how you build out and you pay for all of the houses that go in there. Then the last thing is you fire up your power plants.
Power and run your resources.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, now I take money. On the back of the turn card, this tells me, depending on how many cities I want to power up, how much money I'm going to make. So if I've got this, I've got 6 cities out there, 6 cities would give me 73
Well,
electro.
if you power
If I power them up. So to power them up, I've got the ability to power 9. I have to power all or nothing. So for example, I will use this one. I can burn these 3 coal,
that power 7.
and that powers 7 cities. I can't power just part of it to get parts. You have to burn all 3, power up 7 cities.
But you don't have to use all of your plants.
Exactly. So I've got one stored for next time. I'm going to have to be buying some resources to fire it up. And then I just don't even fire those up. And then you do it again. So then you take a look and you say, okay, now who's got most cities? You readjust your turn order. And then you go at it again. And so it's a complete balanced game of all those different facets of watching the resource market, watching where you want to build your network, where other people are building their network, how fast they're coming out, what power plants come up that you're going to want to bid on, how much you're willing to pay for those power plants because you're going to need those of that resource type. It's complete thinking for a couple of hours. So at the end of the game, I don't even realize the time has gone by because I've just been thinking and concentrating the whole time, and I simply love it. Now, I will add that this is not Mom's type of game. I don't think she would have any interest in it. She would take a look at it and just say, sorry, that is not my style. So it's not for everybody.
Well, that's what she said with 7 Wonders.
Yeah, that one's quite different. But this one is one, if you just want a strategy game, this is completely where it's at. And we've even got
The expansion.
additional maps. So for example, they've got a bunch of different maps. I'll just show you one of these out here. There are other things that can be done. So for example, here's the China-Korea map, which has different, as you can see, different markets. Here you've only got 2 coal, 1 oil, so your resource market plays out differently. On the back side of this one is China. You flip around, the same type of thing, and each map comes with a little bit different rules on how the resources work, how supplies, the supply and demand. So there's different things to think of, but it's just complete thinking the whole time. And we have a few other maps that we bought for it too, plus another expansion, one that I think was pretty cool that they came up with.
The robot expansion.
And this one's for me, so it's robots. So the issue I had before about not having enough people to play it with. So for example, Trevor, if I want to play with you, it's just two of us, there's different dynamics, but we can get the robots. And what robots do are they're like artificial intelligence. They get set up and they are a player in the game, and it's prescribed what they do at each step of the game. And you randomly set up a robot and he takes over a third player or a fourth player. And so that's the way we can add in additional elements and still play with just a couple players and still get some dynamics for the game and being able to watch what they're doing. So
I remember when we played that at like 1 in the morning and we were laughing really hard because it kept buying all the crappy power plants.
yeah, sometimes those robot rules, but that's another thing you got to think about is, okay, watch what he's doing, what he's about to do, and then play it out. This is one of those games that I just love it. Eat it up.
All right, well, what would you rate it?
Well, this one's a 5 on my book. So
5.
I love it. Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, well, thanks, Dad.
You bet.
I'll see you later.
All right, Trevor, what game we playing today?
Small World.
And do you like Small World?
I love Small World.
What were you just telling me earlier?
That this is one of my favorite games that we have.
Okay. I guess we could close right now and just say done, huh?
Basically, I mean,
What more do we
what
need to
do you
know?
need to know?
That's right. Well, what is Small World all about?
Small World, as you can see, is a bunch of jumbled mess, but it's fun jumbled mess because you have races over here that give you special abilities and essentially allow you to win the game.
Nice. And those are all random, it looks like.
Yep, so you'll shuffle these and just whatever comes out, that's what that race is.
Nice. And you got a huge board and you got a lot of special tokens. Is it hard to keep it all straight?
Sometimes, but you have this handy dandy little sheet here that tells you what each one of these things is. So it tells you what the race powers do, which are these guys. So there's like the rat men and the dwarves and the wizards and everything like that. And then down here it's got these little tokens that add the power to the races, and it tells you what each one of those do. And the fun part about this game is that there's so many combinations of different things that can happen that it just makes it unique and really fun.
Awesome, so that's a good way to keep track of that. And is it hard to keep track of how you play it on your turn?
You know, it is at first, but after you've played the game before a couple of times, then it's not too hard. Just like most games.
Alright, well tell me about the board.
Okay, well, this board is a 4-player board, as it says up in this corner here.
That means there's more boards?
That does mean there's more boards. On the back of this board would be it would be another number of player, I don't remember which. And then it also comes with this board, which is this would be a 2-player board.
Yeah.
And on the back would be the 3-player board.
Awesome.
So I think the back of this one's a 5-player board.
What's the objective? What are you trying to do?
The objective is to get as many victory tokens over here as you can. And I will explain how to do that right now.
Awesome. Go for it. What do you do on your turn?
Okay, so on your turn, at the very beginning of the game, you'll choose your race. What you do is, these are ranks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you want the first rank, then you'll just take that rank and everything moves up and this will replenish here.
Okay.
But say I don't want that rank, I put a victory token to pass that rank. So I say, I don't want that, I don't want that, okay, I'll take these guys. And then
Dragon Master Halflings.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
they'll be beast. Then this replenishes here. But say a bunch of people have decided to pass on these here at the top, and somebody says, okay, I want these guys. So they take this and the victory tokens that have been placed on it to pass.
Nice. So eventually someone will get those races. So now,
Yeah.
are you going to be Dragon Master Halflings the rest of the game?
You know, I could be, but the wise choice would be not to, because these numbers right here tell me how many of these I get. So halflings give me 6, and the Dragon Master give me 5. So I'll have 11 tokens to play with. And so I'll grab those out really quick. Okay, so at the start of your turn, you will take your number of tokens, however many you got from these numbers, and you will do your first conquest. Now, normally you'd come in from any end region that's touching the edge of the board, because that's just how it plays. But with the halfling special abilities, I can pop up anywhere for my first one. So to conquer a region, you need 2 tokens, plus any tokens, extra tokens that are already on that region.
Okay.
So if I wanted to come up here for my first conquest, I'd place 2 here. But if I wanted to come up here or here, since there's a token already here, it would take 3 tokens to conquer that region.
Okay.
And I'd pop up there. And also because of the halflings, they have this special ability that you place this little thing, and that's just like defensive stuff. Then if I want to conquer adjacent regions, I conquer it by placing 2, 2, 3, and then since I only have 1,
yeah,
what I can do is take this dice and say, okay, I want to go after this region, but I only have 1. So what this dice does is it gives you reinforcements.
okay,
It doesn't give you any extra tokens, but if I only have 1 and I roll a 0, if I roll a 1, that says I have 2 tokens, so I can conquer this region even though I only have 1. But this can only be used for your last conquest on that turn.
awesome. Okay, so you conquered that many, and then what happened?
So I conquered that many regions, and I can first, you take all the extra tokens, so you leave only 1 on each region that you have, and you redeploy them to any other space, because if other races want to come take you out, you may say, I want to defend these guys and these guys so they can't come through as easily.
Okay.
Then after you redeploy and everything, you score. So you score 1 point for every region, plus any special abilities that your race or whatever might give you. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this turn. So I'll take a 5 token and put it over here. You usually want to flip your tokens over so your opponents don't know how many victory tokens you have, just to shake things up.
All right, so that's how you do it. You conquer and score.
That's how you do it.
And then it goes on to the next person?
Mm-hmm.
Let's check that out.
All right.
All right, so there's a lot more happening on the board now.
Oh, yes.
So what's going on?
Okay, so we now have the 4th players coming into the game. So there's 4 species or races out here. And we're on the 3rd round. So what these rounds are is when we get to the 9th round, the game is over. So right now we're on the 3rd round. Every time a player takes his turn, once all players take their turn, that's 1 round. And you just keep moving it up until you're there.
Okay.
As you can see, my poor halflings have been started to wipe out by the orcs and the ratmen. So what I'm going to do is say, I want to choose another race. So this turn, I'm going to say, I'm going into decline. What decline is you flip all your tokens over to the gray side, and you take off any extra tokens that may be on a spot. So now what's happening is these races are in decline and they can't spread out anymore. So essentially, I just forfeited that race to gain another race, but you can't do it on the same turn. So once I put these guys into decline, I score my 4 points because there's 4 of them out there, so I'll take my 4 tokens, and then that's my turn. On my next turn, I will pick another race just like I did before. So I want to skip these guys and take them, or take the top one or whatever, and I take them and start attacking with a new race.
Awesome, and you'll score points for both your new race and your in decline race.
That's right.
All right, so on subsequent turns, if you choose not to go into decline, but you want to conquer new territories, can you show me quick how you conquer new territories on subsequent turns?
Yes.
Say you're
I'm the rat. Let's say that. Okay, so what I do is there was extra tokens here. What I do is I take the extra tokens that were on top, leaving 1 in each section, and and that gives me 3, and these 3 are the ones I can conquer with.
Awesome. Whew. So there's a lot, and there's a lot more going on, but mostly because of the special abilities.
The special abilities are really what make it unique and really fun. That's why I love this game so much.
The combinations. All right, so what are you going to rate Small World?
No, I've never given a game this rating before, but I've given it 5.
That's awesome. All right, thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Trevor, what game are we playing today?
Scotland Yard.
Ah, very nice. That's why we have a map of London out here, eh?
Indeed it is.
Fantastic. Do you like Scotland Yard?
I do. I think it's a really fun game.
Ah, nice. Well, what's it all about?
It's about the detectives in Scotland Yard trying to capture Mr. X, who is on the run. He's a fugitive and nobody likes him.
Oh, okay. So who gets to play what?
Yeah, that's what you decide when you come out and you pick up the game. You say, I want to be Mr. X, and everyone fights over who wants to be Mr. X. Do rock, paper, scissors, and whoever wins gets to be Mr. X.
Because that's the funnest part?
I think so.
Why?
Well, just because, I don't know, there's just something about being the odd man out in cooperative games that gets people going.
Yeah. So it's cooperative for everybody else but Mr. X.
Yeah.
Nice. Everybody's hunting him down. Well, sweet. Well, I see a lot of different things on the board. I'm sure you'll explain what they all mean.
I definitely will.
Okay.
So you start the game. Each person will start with, each detective will start with 10 taxi tokens, 8 bus tokens, and 4 underground tokens.
Okay.
And each detective and Mr. X will draw one of these tiles to tell them their starting location.
Okay, so there's a random set of places to start.
Mm-hmm.
They each get their spot.
So each of these places in London are numbered so you can find them. Sometimes it's harder to find numbers than others.
So we've got 4 detectives out in this game.
Yep.
Nice. And where does Mr. X start?
Mr. X will be starting on tile 138, right here. But he doesn't put his pawn on the board.
Okay.
So nobody knows where Mr. X is to begin with.
So he takes his spot. He remembers where he's at.
He's right here.
Okay.
But nobody else knows that.
Hard to show up.
Mr. X will start out with only 4 taxi tokens, 3 bus tokens, and 3 underground tokens, but he gets 2 double move tokens, and however many players there are, he gets that many mystery
Oh, okay.
tokens.
I'm sure you'll show me how those work in just a minute, but what do those mean on the map?
Well, the taxi tokens are these white lines. Any white line between location to location is a taxi. If there's a white line, you can taxi there.
Okay.
If there's a blue line, there's going to be a blue slash under these circles. That means a bus goes from there to there. Or from here to here, there's a bus. So buses take a little longer distance sometimes than taxis. And then underground are the orange dots that connect on these highlighted orange numbers that connect even longer distances.
Alright, so underground get you farther, you got less of them.
Yep.
You got limited supply.
And to make things even better, when the detectives use their tokens, they give them to Mr. X.
So Mr. X has an unlimited supply of movement, essentially.
Pretty much.
What happens if the detectives run out of movement?
Then they're out of luck. If they can't move anywhere, then they can't do anything else to help the cause, to find Mr. X.
Okay, well, how do you figure out who wins?
You figure out who wins is if Mr. X gets to turn 24 and the detectives still haven't caught him yet, he wins, because he's eluded them for 24 turns.
Nice.
Or if they catch Mr. X, then the detectives as a whole win.
And what do you have to do to catch him?
You gotta land on his spot.
Okay, well, show me a quick turn, how it works.
Alright. So, Mr. X would go first. He's gonna take a visor. If you have a visor or a hat, it's usually good to have that so it's covering your eyes and they can't see where you're looking at the board. Your first turn, you know that you're going to start on whatever tile you draw. I drew this 138 tile. I'm going to put this pawn out here for purposes of seeing. Then I say, okay, where do I want to go from here? I probably don't want to move towards them because that would be foolish. But I want to get to a spot that can get me around quickly. So I think I'm going to move to 124. And I'm going to write that number right here. I say 124. so I can keep track of where I'm at.
Okay.
Then the mode of transportation I used to get there was a taxi, since I went from this one to this one. So I'm going to put a taxi token over it.
Okay.
So they know that I took a taxi.
So the only thing they know, they don't see your piece on the board because
They have no idea where I am. The only thing they know is I just took a taxi.
Took a taxi somewhere. So on their first turn, they're just taking a guess.
Yep, they're just going to move around. They're going to say, okay, say this is red. He's going to say, okay, I'm going to take a taxi. Takes his token, gives it to Mr. X, and says, I'm going to move it to here. Are you there? And of course, I'm not there. But they don't know that. He might have been there.
Okay. And
then everybody does that in the same manner, and it keeps going until on the third turn, Mr. X is in a spot. He's going to write his number, say I've gotten to 177 because I took a bus on that second turn. On this third turn with the big bubbles, that's when you're going to up here. That's how the detectives are going to know and where to converge onto them.
Okay.
So say from 77 I went to 76. So I'll write 76 here, cover it with the mode of transportation I used to get there, which would be a taxi again. I'd come here, and my pawn is still off the board, and I'd say, okay, I'm right here. And then the detectives swarm like flies, and once their turn is over, you disappear and keep moving.
Nice. So at all those big spots, periodically through the game, Mr. X will appear somewhere.
On every fifth
Nice.
Bubble, the big bubble is where it's going to appear.
Nice. So as Mr. X, you got to figure out, okay, not only are you watching how to elude them, but where you want to show up so you can escape. So tell me about the 2X and the mystery move tokens you got there.
Well, let's pretend that everybody is really converged into this area and say I'm like right here. And I'm just thinking, oh,
And you
crap.
revealed yourself.
And I've had myself revealed, and then I just barely took myself off the board. And I'm just thinking, oh crap, I've got nowhere to go. This is when this would be an opportune time to play a double move token, which lets you move twice. So I could say, I would write down on my little Heidi sheet right here, let's say I moved to 65 and then I'll move to here. So I went from 65 to 22. And I'd write them both down, cover them with the modes of transportation that I say that I want to use, and then they'd know what happens. However, since they would know if I took a taxi from here to here, and then I put a bus token there, they'd know that I probably ended up to here or to here.
So pretty obvious if you're putting a taxi and
that's
bus.
where these mystery tokens come in. If you put a mystery token down, they don't know what mode of transportation you just took.
So you could have taken 2 taxis.
Or
Your first one was a taxi, second one
Yep.
disappeared somewhere.
The
So it makes it harder.
the other thing that these mystery tokens are good for is the river. Mr. X is the only one that can use the river, but these black lines that connect from location to location, port to port, there's not really ports on the river, but whatever.
Station to station.
Station to station on a river. Mr. X can use his mystery token to travel from one station to another station.
Nice. So he's got limited supply of those, but that all makes it fun. Sweet.
And you may think, wow, this map is so huge, how could Mr. X not win? And the only way Mr. X could not win is when he gets careless.
Yeah.
But it's intense for everybody because all the detectives are thinking, oh, where could he have gone? He's here or he's here, and Mr. X the whole time is thinking, oh crap, what if they move into my space right here, and they move this way, and Mr. X can breathe freely and he can just skirt around. But it gets pretty intense for everybody.
The other thing we found with Mr. X, it's nice when the detectives are talking out loud sometimes.
Yeah, because then you can know what they want to hear. It's like you've got a little police scanner in your little Mr. X-mobile.
Okay, they think I'm going that way, therefore...
I'm going to juke them and go the other way.
Yeah, awesome. Sweet. Well, what would you rate Scotland Yard?
I think I'd give it a 3.5.
Nice. Very solid game.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks, Trev.
You bet.
All right, Trev. What game are we playing today?
The King of Tokyo.
Ooh, King of Tokyo. And
There's no the in the title.
It's just King of Tokyo.
Yep.
Do you like King of Tokyo?
Yes, I do.
Oh, sweet. Well, why? What's it about?
It's about monsters and destruction and being the last one standing.
Ooh, sweet. So it's like a King of the Hill kind of thing.
Yeah, in Tokyo.
In Tokyo, no
With
less.
monsters.
Ooh, let's check out some of those monsters. What do we have?
We have Mr. Mecha Dragon. We have the Cyber Bunny. We have the Kraken. The Gigazor. The Alienoid. And the King, who Caleb likes to be.
Sweet. Way to go, King. Well, what's the whole point then?
The whole point of the game is to win, of course.
And how do you win?
You win by doing one of two things. First way to win is this little thing up here. You'll see this is 0.
Yeah.
If you get to 20, then you win.
Oh, you went backwards.
I know. So you go forwards, you don't go backwards, but they have these cool dials that you spin, and you keep track of your points. And once you get to 20, then you win. If you're the first to get to 20.
Oh, what's the other dial do?
The other one is your health, and the other way you win is by being the last one standing. So if you get down to this skull, that means you're dead. You're out of the game.
Ooh.
So if you're the last one standing and you're the only one left in the game and everyone else has been eliminated, then you win.
Sweet. So 2 ways to win. I like it.
Yep.
Well then, tell me how you go about knocking people out and getting points.
Well, the first thing you do on your turn is you take these 6 black dice and you roll.
Okay. Sweet.
So
Let's do that.
roll, and I'll explain what all these mean. So I'll start with the numbers. So there's numbers 1 through 3 on every dice. So there's 1, 2, and 3. It's kind of like Yahtzee, how you get to pick which dice you want and then roll the rest.
Okay.
And for 3 times, and after your third roll, you're done. But you can stop any time in between those. But to get the dice you want, if you get 3 of the same number, then that means you get that many victory points. So 3 of 1s would give me 1 victory point. If I got 3 3s, that would give me 3 victory points. 3 2s, that would give me 2.
Nice.
And then every additional number after that. So if I got 3 3s and then another 3, this extra 4th 3 is worth 1 extra victory point. So that'd be 3 plus 1.
So
or if there's another 3, that'd be plus 2.
Sweet. So that's how you get victory points straight off of a roll. Sweet.
Yeah, so that's what the numbers mean. These lightning bolts are these green cube things.
Ooh, the energy.
The energy cubes. And what they do is you collect them throughout the game, and then you spend them on these cards, which will give you powers variously throughout the game. This is how much they cost.
That much energy, nice.
This tells you what they do, and they all have a name, which is on the card. Down here, it'll say either discard or keep.
Yep.
If you buy it and it says discard, then you do the action on the card and then you discard the card. If it says keep, you keep it in front of you throughout the game, and you can use the power throughout the game unless somebody takes the card from you with some sort of power.
So that's what good energy cubes are. Sweet.
Right. And then we have hearts, which let you heal yourself.
Nice.
There's restrictions on that, but I'll get to that in a minute. And then finally there's attack, which is this claw.
Nice.
Attack is what I love the most.
Of course.
Sometimes. But what attack does, if you're the first person to go in the game, this game can play up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can play up to 6. If you're the first one to go and you attack, you take Tokyo.
Nice.
If there's 5 or 6 people playing, the second person to attack will take Tokyo Bay.
Okay.
But if there's less than 5, then you only play with Tokyo and you don't even worry about that.
But that is, both of those together is Tokyo.
Yeah, both of these is technically Tokyo. But,
Okay.
So the first person to attack takes Tokyo, and they'll get a victory point for going into Tokyo.
Okay.
And then every time it comes around on their turn, so it does a full loop, and if they're still in Tokyo, they get 2 extra victory points for staying in Tokyo.
So if you can withhold the onslaught, you get 2 points. Comes around.
That's right.
But I see the no heart, so when you're in Tokyo, you cannot heal heart.
Yes, that's the restriction. When you're in Tokyo, you can't heal yourself. You can only heal yourself outside of Tokyo.
Ooh, okay.
So if you roll hearts inside of Tokyo, they do
Hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how do the attack work when you roll the attack
The
dice?
attacks work, so if I'm outside of Tokyo and I attack into Tokyo, If I'm in Tokyo, I attack outside of Tokyo, but it's not just one single person outside of Tokyo, it's everybody. So if I'm in Tokyo and I roll 3 claws, then everybody outside of Tokyo takes 3 hits.
Oh, sweet. You unleash your fury on everybody else.
Yeah.
But there's a downside to that.
Yeah, because everyone else gets the turn to attack you. So you could be standing here and then it goes on to this guy's turn. He rolls 2 claws, you take 2 hits. Then the next guy rolls, he rolls 3 claws, you take 3 hits, etc., etc.
So every time someone's taking a turn and they're trying to hit you, well, can you cry uncle and get out of there?
Yeah. But that's for pussies.
Or deaf people.
No. Yeah. If somebody attacks you, you still take the hits, but you can say, okay, I'm done. I'm evacuating. You can take my spot, and you switch places. Now you are outside Tokyo, and they just took your spot inside of Tokyo. And they'll get a good point for going in, and then the onslaught continues for them, and you are now on the outside.
Everybody's attacking each other, going in, coming out, getting victory points.
And slowly the people die off, and then it's left with 1, or rarely someone gets to 20 victory points.
Most of the games where a lot of attacking going on. Well, sweet. And there's a few other things there that look like they're extra. You got some extra dice, you got some extra...
There's these tokens, which these cards will give you, extra dice, which another card will give you, and this box, which the game comes in.
Nice, thanks for pointing that out. Well, sweet. Well, with all that, what would you rate King of Tokyo?
I would rate it a 4.
Yeah.
4.25.
4.25, it's pitching up there?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, everybody we played it with has loved it. Got it out with a bunch of guys the other day, and they just keep going at it.
Just make sure that whoever you play it with is not sensitive or has a bad sense of self-esteem. Because they're going to feel like you're picking on them.
Yeah.
Even if you're not trying to.
But it's such a dice rolling and fun that it's kind of lighthearted.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Trev.